Hi guys, I don't know what's going on here. I hope we support this. Now we wait. Awkward waiting. In the meantime, I should have like a song playing for the first like 3 minutes while you tell my followers that I'm on, right? It'd be like, hi. Oh shit. What up, Hina? Hi guys. For the people that just joined, I know we haven't formally met, but my name is Nikki. I am the creator of Girltellme Something, and yeah, this is girltellme.com. And this is Girltellme Something. This is our weekly 7 p.m. show. Oh shit, yo! I'm getting excited because we're getting a bunch of people in here. As soon as I say that shit, everybody logs off. But this is Girltellme Something. Girltellme.com is my platform. But if you guys, I see a lot of authors on. If you guys ever want to be, promoted, given a shout out to, what's up, Rachel? You want us to talk about your shit, talk about your product, do all that stuff, send us a note to girltellme123@gmail.com. That is girltellme123@gmail.com. What's up, Heather Dewey Petite? I hope I said that right. Sorry, y'all. I'm breaking out. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but we're just going to rock with it. And I'm not wearing a bra, but YOLO. If a tit pops out, a tit pops out. Okay? Take the titties out. Whatever. Tonight, we're going to have on Miss Tamela... Miss Tamela Handie. She was on earlier when we first started the series, but it was just... But this bitch is mad aggressive. SIRI. I don't know why she all up in my shit. So Tamela was on like the first. She was like one of the first 5. I say that as if we've had so many, but she was on and it was just such a good vibe. So I was like, we got to get you back on. So that's why we're here now. Later on in the week, we have a lot of other people, or in the month coming up. We are actually booked out till October. That's pretty exciting. So, and also too, for everybody that's on here, we just added these lives to YouTube. So if you aren't a big, you are on Instagram, so whatever. Whatever. You can check it out on YouTube as well. Girltellme.com. Spell out the dot and the com. And we're going to put like other stuff on there, like funnies, and like sketches and like interviews and shit. I don't know. Just when I have time to do this shit, that's when it'll happen. Miss Handie, send me a request so we can get this shit poppin'. Boop, boop, boop. You know, the longer you take to, Miss Handie, the quicker that these fuckers leave. Okay? We get started and they get in and I'm like, hey, everybody, how are you? And then they're like, oh, get me the fuck out of here. Happens all the time. So I get really excited when people get on and then I'm like, hi, oh my gosh, how are you? And then everybody's like, fuck this bitch, I gotta get out of here. Hi, Marilyn Smiles across the miles. Fun! Marianne, I like it. Okay, I gotta add Miss Handie because she tripping. Let me see. And see if they're request to join anyone. Okay, I just sent it to you. Marianne, this is Girltellme Something. We're on every Tuesday. If you're an author, send me a buzz and we'll make that shit rock. I don't know. Or cross the miles. If you run, send me your shit, girl. We support everybody. Hey!
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Can you hear me?
Yes,
well,
can you hear me? I have headphones in, so I feel like I'm extremely loud, which I'm probably not. Am I?
Yeah, you're yelling. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're good.
Okay, good. So how are you? What's going on? What's new? Oh my
am great. I just got back in town yesterday. I took the trip to Chicago and then I came back for a day and then went to Rhode Island and now I'm back.
Oh, someone's a jet setter.
Yeah, but I haven't been anywhere since the pandemic. So while everybody else has been traveling, I've been sitting in the house.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're back. I saw the picture you posted on Instagram and I was like, she's so fucking fly. So let me just tell you this before I always get started. Miss Handie, you're fucking fly. You already know the drill, but you look great. I always like to tell you that because you always are on it. I love the hair. I love everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, I hit you up beforehand, but I was telling you that I had some other people on a couple of weeks ago and I thought of you because the one I specifically thought about was I remember in our conversation, you said I have like hundreds of poems and they have not been um published yet. Like you're holding off on this book.
Mm-hmm.
And also too, guys, anybody that sends in like a comment, if they're writers and stuff, you can send all your stuff to girltellme123@gmail and we'll figure it out. Anyways, so I was thinking about all the things that you were talking about in regards to not publishing. And first of all, I was pissed because I'm like, what the fuck, Miss Handie? Like, you are killing it. I remember you did that poem. I had people tell me all the time, like, oh my gosh, I love her. She's great. And that's another reason why I wanted to have you back on the show. But yeah, like it started to bring up other things because when I was doing another Girltellme, I had somebody later on refer to you saying you didn't publish your poems. So I was like, I know people are saying this about her and they also can recognize it within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also to like shed light on me because I mean, we've already talked about it. I'm working on this book, but it's taken me 4 years to like be extremely dedicated to being like, okay, I'm going to do my shit. I'm going to get it out there. So the theme of tonight is going to be kind of overthinking, you know, kind of the anxiety of writing, and, you know, just kind of our experiences.
Okay. Well,
Um, Go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, so, in my case, I have all these poems, but I'm not scared about putting them out there. Really, mine is just procrastination, you know. And then as we're talking, you know what I'm thinking? So for a long time, I just thought of myself as someone who wrote poems occasionally. Well, that's a poet. I didn't really think of myself as a poet. So now I am finally getting into that and embracing that is who I am. I don't just
You
write
are.
poems. I'm a writer, period, but I'm also
Okay.
a poet.
Yes.
So,
I always tell one of my favorite stories was I used to run and I've never thought about myself as a runner ever. And I had a homegirl of mine one time we were talking and she was like this bitch was like cut like blah, 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 blah. And she was running like crazy. So I remember one day we had a conversation and I was like, but I'm not a runner. I'm not like
hmm
you. But I'm a run. And she was like, okay, Nick, so this is my question. And I say, yeah. And she goes, how many miles are you running today? And I was like, 5. And she was like, are your shoes dirty? And I was like, yeah. And she said, are they from running? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, the fuck, you're a runner. And
hmm
then it like clicked. So I think a lot of that, the problem too is like, I mean, I write all the time, but sometimes I even struggle when people are like, what do you do? I don't say I'm a writer.
hmm
I'm like, oh, I do admin stuff and I have a platform, but the first thing I go to is not that I am a writer, but literally
right.
that is like the basis of who I am, right? That's my
hmm
job. That's what I want to do with my life. So,
hmm
I think that says a lot that you're kind of acknowledging that like you are that,
hmm
and
So
go
that's a
ahead.
lesson for all of us. The things that we sometimes we take the things that we do so easily for granted. We don't even think of ourselves as the wholeness of who we are. If we can start there by just embracing, just like we just said, we're writers, you're runners, whatever it is, an artist, accept that is who you are. And then you can start to begin to do all the things that go along with that.
I think a problem, at least for me, why I struggle sometimes with calling myself a writer is kind of like how I used to struggle when I would tell people I was a comedian when I did stand-up comedy. I mean, there's comedy
Mm.
in all different parts of me, but the first thing people say to me is like, well, tell me a joke. And I'm like, and it also too gave me anxiety because I'm like, fuck, like, I mean, I don't care to like prove anything to anybody, but then there would
Mm-hmm.
be a part of me that'd be like, what if I do say a joke and they don't find it funny? And then now I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of like living up to another expectation of what other people have for me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you'll say like, oh, I'm a writer. And then people are like, oh, what did you write? And you're like, first of all, don't come for me. You know what I'm saying? But it is a lot of like kind of the pressure that comes with the title, I guess, that
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with. So, I mean, owning it is definitely a thing. But this is my question for you. You talking about you procrastinating, but you have like 100 poems.
Well, procrastinating in the publishing part of it, to actually take the step to do that. And then I'm also procrastinating with my book. I've been working on this book and talking about it forever. My grandmother's like, oh, your book should have been out. My 91-year-old grandmother's like, your book should have been out years ago. She's right, because I just haven't taken the time to sit down and just got all these ideas, but I'm not sitting down to put them on paper.
So what do you think is the reasoning behind your I mean, I guess this is a stupid question because I'm a super procrastinator as well. But I was going to say, what do you think the reasoning behind your procrastination is?
Well, on the book thing, I think it's one, I'm wanting to rush the process. So, you know, because it takes time to sit down and get the book out. I can crank out a poem like that, you know, all day long. But I want the book to be a certain level of quality and all of that. But you can't rush through the process. Sometimes it might take you years. So with me wanting it to be as good as it can possibly be, but not wanting to sit down and take the time. But I can't make those excuses anymore. There's no excuses anymore.
Okay.
I just got to do it.
When's the date then?
Okay. You want to put me on the spot with the date? Oh.
Yes, I'm putting you on the spot. I mean, listen, I am starting to finish up my book. I gave myself the deadline of October 31st. But one thing I will tell you is, as a Capricorn, which I don't know if everybody's like, oh my God, I'm a sad, like whatever. I'm not one of those people, but I'm like, oh, that's so me. I'm one of those that's like a Cap.
I am.
Yeah. So, but one thing about Capricorns is like we need dates. We are specifics and we will hold ourselves to it. And I had a moment where literally I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't care how many pages it is, even though, you know, I had to be, sometimes you got to talk me off the ledge. But I was like, I don't care how many pages it is. I want to finish this shit. I want to finish it. And I am like at a point where I am just like, get this shit out of my face. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, one thing that might be beneficial for you writing your book is set a date.
Yeah.
And hold yourself accountable to it.
I got one in mind.
What you thinking? What you got? What you thinking?
I'm gonna go with December 14th.
Don't play.
December 14th.
Miss do not play.
I'm not playing.
Miss Handie.
I'm not.
Okay, you said it right now. You said
December
it, okay?
14th.
Okay, I'm holding you accountable.
I've started. It's not like I haven't started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is it going?
Well, I haven't gotten deeply into it. I got my intro.
Okay.
I started a couple chapters.
Okay, I'll take it. Hey, okay.
And I got the title. So, you know.
Do you want to share?
At least the. Well, no,
it's okay.
I'm not. I don't want to share it because I'm not solidified on the title yet. You know. So.
Okay, that's okay. I like that. Look, Heather Dewey got a deadline too.
Yeah,
I like
Heather has
deadlines.
One. Good.
Deadlines. Hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. You know what I do though, and it's also beneficial for a deadline, is to like talk about it. Tell somebody about it. Bring it up to somebody. Because as soon as you do that, then you're gonna have some motherfuckers that are like, hey, December 14th, fuck is your book? And you're like, you know? So that also might be something that's super beneficial as well.
Well, that is helpful. So I've written it down. I've made the announcement here on Girltellme. So it's out there. I've never done that before.
Okay, I like it. Listen, I always tell people,
is on.
Get butt naked. Get butt naked. But you know what? Honestly, though, you could take all your works. We've always talked about it. But you could take all those poems, and that's your book right there.
True. I mean, that could be,
shit.
I could knock out the first one.
Or, you know what's another thing, too? Like, I'm learning from my writing of my book. Don't be so harsh on, like, I have to go in order of chapters. If you have an idea for, like, a chapter 7, and maybe it's not even a fucking chapter 7. You just have an idea. Write it down. That goes towards your book. And then I took a writing class, which was a big waste of motherfucking money, but that's why Girltellme about to have writing classes. It's not gonna be a waste of money, but I'm just saying. But literally, it's just a habit. Like every night at 9 o'clock, I spend 1 hour writing my book, and it's been beneficial. So get used to getting into that habit of like, knocking that shit out, and it will happen.
I like the suggestions that you're giving though. Do it at the same time every day, knock it out for an hour, and then you move on.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to make it make sense for you, but like she told me that she would wake up every morning at 6 a.m. And she was like, and some days I would not have anything to write. She was like, I would sit at my computer for an entire hour. And if I had nothing to write, I would just sit there. She was like, but some
Mm-hmm.
days that hour would fly by. And it was to a point where I literally was like, I have to stop, but I don't want to. But I
Mm-hmm.
have to like go to work and shit like that. So it
Mm-hmm.
is one of those things that making that shit known and holding yourself accountable, like,
Thank you. You just made me do it. So.
oh my gosh, yay, yay. I know excited. Okay, so with that being said, now, one thing I noticed last night that I was doing, and I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Um, I am so far like 55 pages in, and I want to hit like 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I started to overthink about my entire fucking project that I was like, do I have to have a certain amount of pages? Do I have to have, like, what are these expectations? Like, I don't want to have a book that doesn't have enough pages that people are like, trash. Or, um,
Mm-hmm.
is this what I want it to be? Is this something that I love? Um, and I mean, I wasn't going to throw the shit away because I put a lot of fucking effort into it.
Right. Right.
But that shit is real. Like overthinking,
It is.
anxiety, the pressure of like, and I hate to say it because realistically, I don't give a fuck, but I do.
Yeah.
I'm a weak ass bitch, you
You
know?
know,
So,
it all makes sense though, because and I find myself not just with writing, but at my day job. So I'm a consultant in my day job, but I have all this self-imposed pressure that I'm putting on myself, and why I don't know. So my manager will often say, "Well, Tamela, you don't have to do that. Well, that's just a me thing, it is." But most people, when they look at your project or what, they don't care. Like the stuff that we're thinking about and staying up late and not sleeping and all this stuff, people really don't care. So why do we care? You know, just
I
it gets
know.
buried in that minutia, and it's not even important. And like you said, it's keeping us a lot of times from doing the things that we could have been done. Move on next. And then here's the other thing that I realized. Sometimes we spend a lot of time thinking about stuff, and a lot of the people that we think about, we're worried about what they're going to think about it. They don't even have the courage to do none of the stuff that we're doing. So
Preach.
yeah. So if they're not out there doing this and putting themselves out there, I've never gone live on my own page, but here I am doing it with you, and I've gotten to the point. You know what? I don't have nothing to lose.
You
Just
really
do it.
don't. You
Yeah.
really
So.
do not. You do not. And I always tell people that you always just got to jump out there and figure it out. But
Hmm.
it's so true what you said. Like, I know that this gets in the way of like my own, like, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I will tell you, like, I'm overthinking it. But like when I meet somebody for the first time or like somebody I haven't seen in a long time,
Hmm.
I do not gloat. I'm not one of those people that I'm like, oh, I run a really successful platform and I'm finishing my book. Because I'm one of those people where I'm like, if you don't ask and I just tell you, you gonna say some dumb shit when I know
Yeah.
you ain't fucking doing shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, I really try to go out of my way not to put that pressure on myself. I don't really let people know. They always say like protect your boundaries, right? Like get
Hmm.
it to a certain place where like you don't tell everybody what you're doing,
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. Because they'll try to down it and downgrade it and all this stuff. Does this happen to you though? Do you ever have people say, "Oh well, I could never have a platform like what you have. I could never get on Instagram and do that, or I could never do this." And they people often compare themselves
Oh yeah.
based on what you're doing, and because they know that they don't have the courage to do it. Not that they can't do it, but they don't have the courage. But I don't understand that all of this constant, and I think it happens a lot of times with women. We tend to compare ourselves with the people that are the closest to us, but why? If that's not even your lane of interest, what difference does it make if you wouldn't do it? But we always like to tell people that. Like, so what? Who cares that you wouldn't do it?
Yes. You know what? It's funny you say that because first of all, let's just give a shout out to the comments because everybody's fucking
Yes,
interacting
I
and we
love
love
it.
all that shit.
Yes,
And
exactly.
yes,
They are jealous. I can't. Yeah, I see your little business. They
we
do all
see
that little
y'all own
stuff.
little business.
I
Yes,
read
I
your little book. I hate that. Like, stop.
listen. I had a girlfriend who I haven't talked to in forever that only just like hits me up to talk about herself, which is cool. I'm here for it, whatever. But I remember one day she was like, "How was your like blog?" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, okay, bitch, that's fine. You don't have to clock me, whatever. But I had to correct her and let her know, like, yes, there is a blog piece to this, but this is also
Mm-hmm.
a platform. Put some
Form
motherfucking respect on my name.
on my
But then
platform.
but then I also to recognize that like she doesn't get it. She hasn't
Yeah.
made an effort to learn about Girltellme. She hasn't made an effort to see what we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do. So yeah, to her it is just a blog.
Mm-hmm.
But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, you need to support me now until you're, because one day your kid's gonna be asking me for my autograph.
Exactly. But and then she'll understand exactly what it is that you
A
want.
little blog.
Right.
Oh, bitch
Right.
ass.
Right.
No, but listen though. No, but I had a girl actually on Girl Tell Me. We do a Get Your Life Right series. Um, Consistent with it. Yes. See, I like. Okay, for the humans. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I had her say to me that she actually really struggled with people in her life that were um not haters, but people in her life that didn't support her that were close to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, well, think about it like this, okay? You have to understand that whatever you do, no matter what it is in your life, people are not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
Exactly.
If you said to somebody one day, I'm going to run a marathon, most of the time people are thinking in their head, oh, I could never run a marathon. That's
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah,
most of
they
them say, right?
that's where they go.
I can't run a marathon, or I could never work out like that, or I could never write a book. And I tried to show her that it's not a negative thing because I've had people in my life that, even some family members, that like truly just don't understand what I'm doing. They can't see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing. And I could explain it to them till they're blue in the face. But because I'm like, oh, don't worry, like my book will be in Target. Okay. My
Mm-hmm.
book will be wherever the fuck I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
They think in their head, like, that's not possible because it could never happen for
For
me.
me, exactly.
And that's why I always try to explain to them, like, you can't look at it as like a necessarily like a negative, like, oh, people are haters. It's just kind of the ideal that like sometimes people, realistically, people can't see over their own ass. They only see what
Mm-hmm.
they want for themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of, coming from a place of being like, oh, y'all don't support me, blah 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 blah, it's kind of like, okay, just watch me work.
Yeah. But it's all that projecting though. Sometimes they are hating though, but
I mean,
some of that projecting and all that fear stuff, just because you wouldn't do it, again, that has nothing to do with me. I had someone tell me years ago on my day job, she said, well, I don't have any idea what you do, but it can't be that hard. What? Okay, well, if you don't know what I do, how do you know that it ain't hard? And in fact, it's a step above the stuff that you're doing. So it's just those kind of comments. And then I had a friend, just recently, she was telling me about something that I just did a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "Well, you're not fearful about that?" No, but it was because she would be fearful about that. So I had to sit and have this whole conversation with her about, don't project your stuff on me. If I was scared to do it, I wouldn't be doing it. If I was
Yes.
nervous about it, if I was anxious, I would still just be sitting here in this one spot. But anyway, yeah, that projecting is it's irritating for me.
Oh my God, it's definitely irritating, but I will say that I think once you recognize that people are just, like you said, projecting and also to just kind of putting their own insecurities on things,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, I will tell you, it's crazy to me the times that like I won't hear from somebody, but then I'll randomly get something that's like, this inspired me, or something you did,
Yeah.
made me feel a type of way or something like that. And I'm like, I see you motherfuckers watching.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need. You know what I mean? Because I hate it, but we are kind of in a society now that is not, people like to celebrate your losses versus like dope shit. You know what I mean? Like being
Mm-hmm.
successful and kind of doing those things. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why you two have to be so protecting of your energy and your ideas and those things, because people are just ready to fucking, people like to see people fail.
They
And
do.
you
They
know,
do. And I'm with I guess it's for the humans. Were you talking about friendships? So I've had some friendships that ended just over just nonsense. Just, that competitive thing that, and I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I want everybody to reach the highest, whatever your level is. I hope you get there because I'm trying to get to mine.
mm-hmm.
But there's no competition. Everybody just, if we all stay in our lane as
Is that
fast
me
as
or
we
her?
can do it and we do it,
No. Okay, you're good.
we won't have those, issues. But I can agree with you. I've had some friendships that have fallen off, and my life is much better without it because I don't have that petty, immature nonsense. We're grown. We don't have time for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think I do. And I also think too that, like, not even from a hateful perspective, but it's, even just running this platform has made me realize how much of a hater I am of myself.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, I be hating on myself. Like, I always talk about imposter syndrome and everything, but I always, and I don't know why, I think it's a natural thing, but like, I always have those. Sometimes I feel like I'll be in a room full of people who are supportive of me, and I'm like, not good enough. And listen, I'm working on it. I'm going to therapy. We talking about it.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that, like, because like literally last night, let me tell you how toxic I can be, okay? I fucking sat here and I finished up like another chapter of my book. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally was like, is anybody going to read this shit? Like, do people actually really read? That's what I said to myself. I'm like,
Wow.
do people actually read books? Would anybody really want to read my book? And then I started going into crazy town. And then
Really?
luckily, like, I went to the publisher of the book that that's going to help me with my book. And she
Mm-hmm.
literally was like, Nikki, just shut up, go to bed. She was like, the things you're worried about, they don't matter. Like, it'll be
Yeah.
fine. I mean, I told you, I got down to like the page count where I was like, well, I want to have like 100 pages. And she was like, it doesn't matter. The one thing she said to me that cracked me up, she goes, bitches have no patience for shit. 100 pages is perfect. And I was like, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily I have people in my corner who kind of remind me of the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I really do think that sometimes I can kind of be my own toxic ass friend.
Yeah.
I,
Yep. That's what I was talking about. That self-imposed pressure and all this stuff I don't know where that comes from, but I'm sure it comes from somewhere. There's a reason why we do everything that we do,
yeah.
you know. But the
Yeah.
fact that you're conscious of it, we're ahead of the game.
Yeah, but now I'm just conscious of how shitty I am. And then that makes me even more shitty.
But you know what? The most powerful thing there is when you recognize your own patterns, so nobody else has to tell you. When you start to recognize it for yourself, you're winning. You know, you don't have to have people tell you that you need to get your stuff together or whatever. You already see it for yourself.
Oh yeah. I keep on talking about it on the page, but like I feel like I'm going through a shift. I feel like I'm learning more about myself. I feel like I'm in those uncomfortable spaces. In a good way. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel the most present in my life, like in my 30s now, than like I ever have. Whose name? Marianne, who? You talking about me or Tamela Handie? By the way, I always call you Tamela Handie or Miss Handie because I feel like it's just like chinchilla on my tongue. Just, you know what
You
I'm
know
saying?
what? So I have. Oh, I dropped my thing. So I go by Miss Handy. That's the name my grandmother always called me. Just
I love it.
they're all official and proper at the house. We'd be hanging out. She was like Miss Handy, so it became a thing.
No, I love it. I feel like it should be your stage name if you ever do a show or some shit.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, Marianne Smiles Across the Miles. My name is Nikki, and this is Miss Handy.
Tamela Handy. Yeah.
Tamela Handie. Boop, boop.
Tamela with
Okay.
the T like Tom.
Do people say, oh, like Pamela? I never even thought
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Whatever. Okay,
Hmm.
so we got over your book. We were talking about procrastination. What else is on your heart? Because I'm gonna be honest. I had coffee because I feel like I'm talking a fucking 1,000 miles a minute. B, I could listen to you talk all the time because I feel like you have so much wisdom and like you say the things I'm thinking and like it's also your voice. It's very like soothing. So that's why like
Oh,
I did not have anything super planned because I was just like, she's literally just gonna read me all of my life and I'm just gonna sit here and be like, you right.
no, 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 no. Well, the thing that I am really, really, really passionate about, is being introspective.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of us that we just go through life and we're always looking at everybody else, pointing fingers and telling them what they didn't do or what they should do and how their life should be this way. But are we looking at ourselves?
Mm,
Because that's really all we need to be focused on. So
yeah.
if we can start to do that, and I've been doing this myself, haven't always, but I'm now starting to do that. That's why I was talking about us realizing our own patterns. Several years ago, I had someone ask me, someone that was really close to me, they asked me, what is it that you know about me that I don't know about myself?
Ooh.
And that was a really powerful question for me and I had a long answer for this person. But then I started to think about it and I was like, well, how sad is that this person would have to ask someone else, just happened to be me, because there shouldn't be nothing about you that you don't already know, and vice versa. There shouldn't be anything about Tamela that I don't know about myself. Now, whether I want to do anything about it, that's another issue.
Mm.
But Nikki shouldn't be able to come to me and say, you know what, you're an impatient person, or you're rude, or whatever it is, good or bad. We need to know everything it is about ourselves, and that's how we can begin to get better, expand the good stuff, and then try to work and improve the bad stuff.
Yeah, I actually had that not too long ago. I was I was like talking to some guy and we were dating and he told me one time, guy I just met. And I know this, but like hearing other people say it was really hard for me. And my best friend said it at a completely different time, but not that like they were very close together. Um but he said to me, you talk so highly about people. He was like, ever since I met you, I've never heard you say a bad thing about anybody, but you don't show yourself that same love. And I was like, what
Mm-hmm.
the fuck? And then my best friend said the same thing. She said, sometimes I don't think you really love yourself. And I started bawling at work, like
Wow.
bawling. And I
Wow.
was like, why would you say that? I love myself, blah, 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 blah. But I did have a moment because I also had to take in that the way I talk to myself is not very nice sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot better about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I'm working on, but I just noticed that like I had to have one person who did not know me very well and one person
Mm-hmm.
who knew me super well to basically tell me like, Nick, you are so nice to everybody else, but you're not nice to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like that aha moment.
Yeah.
It was kind
And
of like,
so that's like one of those, those patterns that we get into. We don't even pay attention. And I had something similar. Like years ago, I used to be extremely negative. So Marianne is talking about her late ex-husband, but my ex-husband used to tell me all the time, "You're so negative. You're so negative." And I never really, I didn't think that I was, but he would tell me, and then my mom would tell me, and then I was like, "Well, God, well, maybe I am, maybe I'm negative."
yeah,
But yeah, someone did have to tell me that. But again, if I was paying attention to who I am and how I'm showing up in the world and what my energy is like and all this stuff, then the more people tell you that and you begin to focus on yourself, then you start to, oh man, listen to what I just said. Oh my God, I'm doing it again.
yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I remember us talking about that before, and I feel like because I don't know, I feel like you and I have a lot of similar things, but happen very
Mhm.
differently in our lives.
Mhm.
But just kind of that awakening of, like you said, learning yourself. My aunt just said we always are harder on ourselves. It's so
Yes.
true. It's
Yep.
it's one of those things that like it, it's a hard pill to swallow. It really is.
It
But
is.
shit, like your vitamins, you gotta take that shit. You gotta
Right.
ingest it. You gotta fucking poop it out.
Yeah, look at yourself every single day. So, and I've been on this path now for 20 years, but every single day, good or bad, I've gone through everything. Depression, heartbreak, grief from losing loved ones and all this stuff. And then I had to get to a point where, okay, I don't want to remain stuck. You know,
Mm-hmm.
these things in life, I used to feel like I'm just going to lay down and die, with
Ugh.
these things, these normal life things that happen. I would lay down and die every time. And, that got old. It's like, because I know there's so much more in me. I'm a much stronger person. I'm bigger than all of these circumstances, and so I had to start, as Dr. Phil says, behaving my way out of it. And so now I've developed some muscles in that area. I still have stuff happen. I still get disappointed. The other day I was in the mirror crying and all that, but you know what? I'm gonna live because I got too much stuff to offer the
Yeah.
world, and it's amazing. One thing that we don't do, we don't give ourselves credit for the evolution that we've had in our lives either.
Oh
I'm
no,
sure
that's
you
true.
I'm sure in many ways in your life you're a much different and a better person than you were. And we don't celebrate that. We don't take the time to celebrate and acknowledge, well, I tell my mom, well, I'm not what I used to be. And she said, yep, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You've grown a lot. So those are some simple things that we can do. We may not be exactly where we want to be. I'm not, but I do feel myself getting better and growing. And the more self-aware I am, the easier it is to get there.
Yeah, I saw something the other day. It was like a TikTok, but it was a guy saying that he is certain that your life journey is not about falling in love with someone else, it's about falling in love with yourself.
Exactly.
And I was like, fuck, and I
Oh
saved
my
it
God.
because I I mean, yeah, like I think about the things I've learned about myself and my growing and, like doing affirmations and just, like being sad sometimes, which even for me is uncomfortable. I'm not one of those
Mm-hmm.
people that's I'm a very positive person. So
Mm-hmm.
even for me to be sad, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, hurry it up, get out of this. So,
Uh-huh.
kind of sitting in that and being uncomfortable and like having bad days, it's
Yeah.
something that I'm not used to, but yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is kind of the process of falling in love with yourself and falling in love
Yeah.
with the ugly parts of you, right? The parts that people don't clap for.
That's true. And that bad day thing, so in my day job I do consulting and I work with, employees that may be having some difficulty with getting along with other people and those types of things. And so what I've realized is, a lot of us bring our whole self to work. And sometimes our whole self is not mature. We're acting the same way we would act out on the street. We bring that into work. And that energy that you bring into the workplace is chaotic. It's toxic sometimes. People don't want to be around you. And so all of those different things that you bring in, you got to be conscious of that because again, it comes from somewhere. But the thing to remember is have grace for other people. Everybody has a bad day sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they may snap at you just because somebody cut them off on their way to work. And so one thing I'm trying to be more conscious of is, um, trying to think about, well, maybe it ain't about Tamela. Maybe it's probably something that, and in most cases, it ain't about me. It's about something else. They had an argument with their boyfriend or their husband or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody cussed them out. But again, it's sometimes hard to think about because we're so self-centered. Just like I've had a bad day, sometimes somebody else might have one too. And don't
Yeah.
don't let it, take offense and let it bother you personally.
Oh yeah. I think I am the number one culprit of that. I'll be like, oh, it's about me. I did
They
something
don't like
wrong.
me. Yeah,
They
they
don't
don't
like
like me.
me. They don't fuck with me. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I that is
hmm
my go-to because for me, I have to admit that it's uncomfortable to deal with things I don't understand or deal
Mm-hmm.
with things that don't have to do with me. I always go to me because it's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I can be accountable for myself. I can be accountable for my actions, but I can't hold myself accountable for something that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
where the uncomfort comes from, right? It's because I'm like, well, I want to have a resolution. I need to find it. I need to understand why this situation happened. Um, and it's uncomfortable.
It is. But then that's the thing. So we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Sometimes you're not
Oh,
going to get the answers. Sometimes you'll never know. And that person may treat you like that for the next 10, 12 years. But you know what? Something it's unfortunate. But there's this lady that I used to work with. She had the most powerful saying. She used to say, "That's your baby. I'm going to let you rock it."
ooh,
Yeah, she did. So some people, they have stuff and it ain't got nothing to do with you, and you've not done anything to them. So it's pretty much that, that's your baby. I'm gonna let you rock it.
I like that.
Yeah.
See, but okay, so this is my question for you then. How do you do that? How do you let that baby rock? Because I know, like, I think it for me, they say like time or, time makes the heart grow fonder, right? So of course over time it gets easier. But
Mhm.
I think that my hardest issue, and I'm personally working on it. One thing I've really struggled with is that if I'm upset or, something's bothering me, I will let it completely drain my energy.
Yeah.
It will be that one thing that I'm like, okay, like I'm upset and I let it take up my whole day. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
And it gets easier every day, right? Over time you're
Mhm.
like, okay, fuck it. Now to day 2, I really don't understand. By day 7, you're like, okay, that's your baby, go rock it.
Yeah.
But I guess like what do you do? Like how do you do it?
Well, the thing is, well, first of all, realizing when you do that, pay attention to how your body feels. I know when I get upset and I allow something to just totally ruin my day, one little thing, it's rough on your body. You just feel so down, and if you pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to those internal feelings, who wants to feel like that? That really is a choice, though. I've had
Yeah.
some major things happen at my house. I mean, like tree almost falling on my. I mean, just things that I would just really, when I look back, probably 5 years ago, I just would have gone nuts, and I would just allow that to just totally ruin my whole day, my whole month, my whole year.
Yeah.
But you're giving your power away. There's so much. Think about all of the things that you could have spent your time doing that were productive. It's just, again, it's a circumstance. It's not your whole life, and some things that happen to you, there's nothing you can really do about it. It is what it is. So how can I move forward? And so if you begin to think of it that way, I'm not going to let this one little thing, this little breakup or someone cut me off in traffic, take over my whole life, because then you're giving them your power. So if you
I
want
know.
someone to be in control of your life, why would you want that? You control your own life. So don't give them that energy. Some people want to, that are negative and unhappy, they like to try to pull us into that space with them. Don't do that. Don't allow them to do that. Again, you're giving someone too much power. They don't have any power over your life. So you have to learn
Yeah.
how to separate that and be conscious about, okay, this is my life and my energy. Do I want to spend it that way, balled up in a knot and mad and angry and toxic, dysfunctional? Or do I want to be a healthy, happy, whole, joyful person? And now I choose the latter. So I
Yeah.
ain't going there.
I
Not even with my own stuff. I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it just comes with like muscle memory and just kind of
Yeah.
consistently doing it,
Just
right?
keeping it, yeah, setting a new pattern. You got to keep doing it until it becomes, again, behaving your way out of it. Because we're used to doing it
Ooh, I
that
like
that
that.
that lazy way.
Behaving your way out of it. I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
Dr. Phil's thing. We're used to doing it the lazy way, the toxic way. Because even though it doesn't make sense, it doesn't even feel good. But that's what we're used to doing,
Oh
and
yeah.
so we do what's familiar.
I remember when I was going through my divorce, I was not petty. Never once wanted to be petty. I mean, any guy that I've ever dated, anybody who I've been more emotional with, even close friends or anything, I don't lose many close friends because of how important they are to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I remember going through everything. I had a girlfriend one time say to me, because I was extremely civil, no problems, nothing. And she was like, you don't want to like hit him where it hurts. Like even during our divorce, I was like down the middle. I'll pay half. I just want to get the fuck out. And I remembered I had a moment where my girlfriend said, like, you don't want to be like petty. You don't want to like hit him. You don't want to do this and that. And I was like, bitch, I do not have the energy to be mad at this man. Now I'll be
Mm-hmm.
sad and he
Mm-hmm.
will never see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't have, and that's always my thing. It's like, I just don't have the energy to like waste on being a bad person,
Exactly.
you
Yep.
know? And like,
Yep.
don't get it twisted. It hurts. You know what I'm saying? If I
Mm-hmm.
break up with somebody or, you know, if a relationship doesn't work out, I'll be in my fucking feelings, but you will, I'm going to cry in the closet.
Yeah, me too. You'll never know.
Never.
Because once you go there, that becomes your pattern. So, and as painful and as horrible as it may feel, people are addicted to pain and unhappiness and discomfort. And it doesn't make any sense, but they are because they're addicted to it. Because if you choose not to, then you got to do something about it. And that requires a whole lot of more energy. You can't hang on to that old story. Well, he did this to me and she said this to me and all those old poor excuses that don't mean anything. Then it's on you to try to do something about it. So that's why we like to try to stay over there in that bad place, that unhealthy place, that dark place. But, it takes effort to try to change your life, to transform, and people they don't want to take the time to do it because it takes a lot of time and effort. But that's the best way to go.
I mean, honestly, I joke about it, but it really is like once you have your peace, like you cannot fucking do anything to disturb that shit. Like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? And I'm learning, like you said, through muscle memory and kind of letting other people rock their own babies. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I joke about it now, like dating. People are like, oh, you got to get out there, girl. Like, you got to get it and this, and that. And I'm like, I just don't think I want to ever deal with somebody that is going to disturb my peace. Like,
No.
it's so emotionally draining. And like, I'm like, my life is so peaceful. I am
Mm-hmm.
blessed to have a very peaceful life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And once you kind of have that shit, you gotta hold it like a damn
Treasure it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean it is irreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Energy is everything,
Oh my god.
and someone's energy can come if you allow it, and they'll just wipe out everything that you have worked so hard to create. So, and I'm with you. I desire to be in a relationship, but it ain't that serious for me to just have any and everybody around. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't that serious. I ain't thirsty. I ain't desperate. So if it ain't coming in the right way, this new version of me, it ain't happening.
Don't bring that
It's
shit over here. Take your
exactly
trash out somewhere else.
right.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit.
Got time? No.
No, I completely agree. I think it's just one of those things that once you kind of get more used to the uncomfortable parts of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
like even just talking to my girlfriends or just friends, and they're like, I like being alone. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
through that phase right now where I'm a little bit uncomfortable being alone, and I'm like, like, what is this? Because I'm such a hey, what's up, and ooh, let's talk, and blah blah blah. That like when I'm not doing that shit, I'm like, what the fuck
Uh-huh.
am I doing myself? You know?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
now I'm starting to get it. I went into a phase before, and now I'm going back into it where I'm like, no, it's a Friday night. I don't have FOMO. I want to sit my fucking ass on the couch. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to always feel like I'm doing something or things like that.
Right.
But that comes with the peace. It comes
Mm-hmm.
with the
Yeah, so a lot of times when we don't, because especially if you are a very social person,
oh
um, I'm a natural an introvert. I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies. So but I'm an only child, so I'm used to doing stuff by myself. I go travel, I go out to eat. But then I had to think. So the opposite of you is, I get to thinking, oh wow, I do everything by myself. I need to, do some things that comes naturally for me. I can do that, with ease. But to be more social, I have to be more intentional about that, to include other people, because I could just go on and I don't think about, if it's a concert or whatever I want to go to. I don't wait and ask other people. I just go get my stuff and go by myself.
I
you
mean,
know.
I used to, I had a friend of mine that would always tell me, like, one thing don't stop the other. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't come, I'm still going. If you don't want to be
Exactly.
part of it, okay, cool. But I
Mm-hmm.
will tell you that I think a lot of times as people, we always are dependent on, um, we're always so dependent on other people that we end up not doing those things. So
Yeah.
you do get into a place where you're like, okay, fuck it, you don't want to go, but I really want to try this restaurant. I'm gonna go by myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the beauty is.
So you
Because
got a question down here. Are your friends extroverts? I don't know if they're asking you that.
you know what's funny? I will tell you, for me, I am of course the most extroverted. I think I am actually friends with a lot of introverts. Like all my friends are like, that's my loud friend. How about you?
You know what? Most of mine are extroverts. But
Look,
see, I can go either way though. It just depends. But I draw my energy from within. So I can sit in the house for all weekend and not care, but then I like to go hang out and have fun and act silly and all that stuff. So, but once I've been around a whole lot of people, I got to take several days to get myself back, balanced. And I'm a Libra, so balance is very important.
oh my gosh, I think that's so, like for me, I never knew like what that was. I really never, like, I have a lot of introverted friends, but they have the extrovert feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I never realized, to like some people, I'm fucking so draining because I'm like this all the time. Like I wake up, I'm like,
Yeah,
what's up, bitch? What we doing?
yeah.
And then
Because
I'll,
you draw your energy from other people. That extroverts get their energy from other people,
oh my
and
God,
introverts get their energy from within.
it's like a fucking cheese buffet. If I'm around a bunch of people I love, I'm just like, give me that shit. Give me them breadsticks. Give me all that shit because I do. But I will say, I think the older I get, the more that I'm like, So it is interesting, but I think that
Yeah.
comes with like the journey of learning yourself and being like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to see you fuckers every day because y'all get on my nerves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Look at that Libra. I don't.
Yeah, Libras are fun.
Yeah.
We're into aesthetics and all of that good stuff. In balance, you gotta
I,
have balance.
I'm one of those people that I only know myself, and like people that I've dated, I'm like, oh nope, I'd never date. You're a Leo, trash. Okay, next. You're an Aries, you ain't shit. Next, like that's
Oh wow!
okay. So listen, we only have a couple more minutes, but I think that we should get you back on because I just love talking to you.
I love to come back on
Of
anytime.
course, and I'm happy. Listen, when you gonna do a? When are you gonna do a live and bring me on?
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, girl,
I
get
need to do that. I need to do that. So
okay.
when do you want to do it?
We'll plan it offline, but let's get to the meat, okay? You in this live have said that you are gonna finish the draft or the final? No, the draft.
Yeah, the draft.
Okay,
De-
December 14th.
December 14th.
Okay, everybody heard it here. We have to
December
hold
14th.
Miss Tamela Handie
Yep.
December 14th. She said she's gonna
Got it
have
written
a
down.
okay, we heard that. Also, too, someone else in the comments said that they were going to do December 21st. We're
Yep, I
holding
saw that
well,
too.
okay. Um, I'm checking you, and you better finish that book.
Oh, I am. I'm not playing. So, I have a certification program that I'm kind of leading this certification program, and it ends tomorrow. The students graduate. So after tomorrow, I've been putting all this energy and hours into helping these students get to where they need to be. I don't have any excuse after tomorrow. So it's
Oh,
it's full speed ahead on this book draft.
okay, amazing. Okay, so with that being said, what else are you working on? Are you still doing the podcast? Let people know. I always tell you, plug your shit. Let everybody
Yes.
know whatever you want to talk about.
So I'm still doing the podcast. The podcast is Gumbo Nights with Miss Handie. It's available on all of the podcast platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor. Nikki was my guest on episode 52. So you all can go and check it out. The episodes are really short, most of them, except for when I have interviews. But generally, the ones where I'm talking, and I talk about a variety of subjects. That's why it's called Gumbo. Also called Gumbo because I was born in Louisiana. So there's the Louisiana tie-in there. But most of the episodes are about 10 to 12 minutes long. And so it's a variety of different things. I have guests on talking about silly things, serious things, etc.
Damn, we talk. Yours is only 10 to 12 minutes. We talk for a whole hour on ours.
Yeah, because when I have guests on, it's an interview, so it's longer. But
Yeah.
the episodes that I do by myself, they're really short. So, and if you go back and listen, I would love for you to listen to it. Go all the way back to episode 1 because I'm talking about something really embarrassing that happened to me in the first episode. Episode 2 talks about my journey with Dr. Phil and Oprah. The reason why I talk about Dr. Phil so much is because I had a once in a lifetime opportunity to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Myself and 41 individuals from all across the country were chosen to be locked in a room for this Get Real experiment on Oprah. So
Super.
you'll find out all about that.
Yep. I will tell you, super interesting, her story. We actually, when we talked on the podcast, we learned so much about each other because we both have been through divorces and we've both,
Yes.
dealt with those things. But just hearing more about her story and everything was super interesting. It was something that I loved. I mean, shit, you're back again. So
Yeah.
you guys definitely need to check her out. Any more info on this book?
Well, the book is actually going to talk about, so I've had some really remarkable things that have happened to me in addition to what I just shared with you about the Oprah, but else basically we'll start there and how that the journey that I've been on. But I haven't shared this and maybe I'll talk about this more in depth next time. So I said I was an only child, but about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, I found out that I'm not an only child.
Mm.
And it happened in a crazy way. Found out that I have a brother, and at the time he was 36 years old. So yeah, and it was because of me and my curiosity and all of this stuff that I found out that this person was not just some random guy off the street. He was my brother.
Hold up. You really gonna drop this shit 58
At
minutes
the end,
until we are done with the show? You gonna tell us you got a long lost brother?
yeah,
Oh
right.
Lord. Okay.
Well, but see, that gives me something else to talk about, next time I come on. I could talk about how that story, and he wrote a book about it as well. His book is called Solving for X, Finding the Man Within. The book is written by Marvin Lyman. I wrote the foreword for it. Came out in
Man,
2013.
what the hell? You just
I
holding
know.
shit.
I know. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Yeah.
Send
And
me.
I actually am a published author already. I had a short story, just a short story though. But it's in Tavis Smiley's book, Keeping the Faith. I don't know if anybody knows who Tavis Smiley is, but
Okay, I'm about to get off of here because you're pissing me off.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, well send me all of the stuff so I can promote it and people can follow you because I know everybody is pressed on you like I am. We love us you. Like damn.
Yeah, but you all, if Nikki invites me on again, or even whenever we talk about this
Word.
story about the discovery of my brother is unlike anything you've ever heard. It's I can't even believe it. If I wasn't involved in it, I wouldn't believe it myself.
Well shit. Okay. I'm
Unbelievable.
gonna get you on for next month.
Okay.
Because I want
And maybe I can even have him come on and he can talk about if you
Bro,
want.
listen. Okay, we could do like a group thing. We could do
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah. It's I'm telling you, it should be a movie. The way the whole discovery came about is unbelievable.
Okay, listen. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get you on for next week. I'm gonna hit you up as soon as I get off of here.
Okay.
So this
I,
is the fabulous Miss Tamela Handie. I will put all of her information. I've already tagged her and everything, but you'll see more of her. Go support Gumbo Nights. It's a great podcast. She's amazing, and keep on keeping each other accountable. This
Thank
was
you for inviting me, and thank you all for tuning in and listening and being engaged. I really enjoy this and appreciate it. Can't wait to come back and do it again. And I'm going to have you. I'm going to go live and bring you on my page too.
let me know anytime. I got.
Okay.
All right. It was so
All
good to see you.
right. I
I'm gonna hit.
enjoyed it as always. Okay.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.